Yo, what's up, sports bettors? I got 5 player props for you for tonight, and my first pick is right here. It's from the sportsbook screen. So, what this tool kind of does is it gives you a complete layout for a specific market you want to look at. So, in this case, we're looking at NBA player rebounds. And basically, the way I use this tool is I'll just zoom in a bit, but as you look for discrepancies, right? You want to find value in the market as a sharp bettor. And I say this in other videos, but essentially as a sharp sports bettor, you have dozens of data points telling you where a line should be set, right? So for Curry, all the sports books have his rebounds line at 5.5. Prize Picks Underdog, they have his line at 5.5. There's no major discrepancies. There's no value. We don't want to touch this play with a 10-foot pole. But you look at LeBron James, on the other hand, Underdog Prize Picks, they have his line at 9.5. Right? These other fantasy sites have LeBron's line at 9.5. All the sports books have LeBron's line at 9.5 as well. Some books have the under favored, some have the over slightly favored. But long story short, what you're going to notice is what jumps off the page is, hey, LeBron's line is 10 on no house advantage. So we found a discrepancy. We found value. No house advantage is too high relative to every other sports book. Every other book has LeBron's line at 9.5. All the other fantasy sites like Prize Picks have LeBron's line at 9.5. NHA is at 10. They're too high, so we want to take the under, right? We found value. If LeBron has exactly 10 rebounds, so if LeBron has exactly 10 rebounds, on no house advantage, we're going to push, right? We're going to tie. Our 5-pick parlay, so I have a 5-pick parlay on no house advantage. Our 5-pick parlay will become a 4-pick parlay if LeBron has exactly 10 rebounds. If you take LeBron under 9.5 on Prize Picks right here, and he has exactly 10 rebounds, you lose, right? So this is what sports betting is all about, right? Hunting through the market, finding an edge, finding an advantage. It's not sexy, but this is how you make money, right? This is how sharp sports bettors find value in the market, as they look for inefficiencies. Every book wants to set lines independently. So as a sharp bettor, we hunt through the market and we look for inefficiencies. Parlay Play, another fantasy site, has LeBron's line at 9.5. NHA is too high. We want to take the under. All these other sports books are data points telling us, hey, LeBron's line on NHA is too high, right? So that's the first play I went with. And then, we can kind of talk about how does NHA work. So if you know how Prize Picks works, so if I go over to Prize Picks here, right? Prize Picks, they have fixed payouts. It wouldn't have mattered if we took Porter under, right? It wouldn't have mattered what 6 picks you select. This is always the payout you're getting on Prize Picks. So for no house advantage, it's similar. Any 5-pick entry you create, if you win 5 out of 5 picks, as you can see in this little multiplier. So if I take unders, right? If I switch this to a different pick and I change this to another NHL pick, you're going to see you go 4 for 5, you get a 2.6x payout. You go 5 for 5, you get a 12x payout. So this is another fixed payout platform, kind of similar to Prize Picks. And I say this in every video, but all I'm doing is showing you guys what I'm putting my own money on. Sometimes I find more value on Prize Picks. Sometimes I find more value on No House Advantage. So this is a new kind of platform that popped up, pretty similar to Prize Picks. And again, I recommend signing up for as many of these platforms as possible, because all these books have different lines from one another, right? We were able to get LeBron under 10 rebounds on No House Advantage. His line is 9.5 on Prize Picks. So there's no value on Prize Picks. The value is on No House Advantage. So long story short, because we know the payouts, right? Any 5-pick entry gives a 2.6x payout if you go 4 for 5, and then you get a 12x payout if you go 5 for 5. What you can essentially do is back out what percentage of your picks you need to win on No House Advantage to be profitable. And what you're going to see is it's 53.22%. So on Prize Picks, the numbers are slightly different, but on No House Advantage, it's 53.22%. So long story short, if you can select your over-unders, so let me just go ahead and clear this. If you can select over-unders, just like this, Sam Bennett over under half of a point. So if you can select these correctly, over 53.22% of the time, you're going to be profitable on No House Advantage. I mean, there's nothing complicated going on here. All I did was I took the payouts on No House Advantage and backed out what percentage of your picks you need to win to be profitable. And it's 53.22%, right? So what No House Advantage assumes is most people, they don't have an advantage. They don't have an edge, right? So if you don't have an edge, you're only going to be able to select these over-unders correctly 50% of the time, right? Sam Bennett, he's always going to go over or under. It's one of the two. So if you were to just blindly select, you had no advantage and you're just picking over unders, you're only going to be able to get these correctly 50% of the time, and your ROI on no house advantage would be negative 22%. So all you have to do to be profitable on this platform is find picks that are winning over 53.22% of the time. So typically to do this, I start out on the OddsJam positive EV, positive expected value tool. So this works for live betting, this works for pre-match betting, but essentially what it does, right? All OddsJam does is it reads in all these lines from No House Advantage, Prize Picks, as well as all the sports books. So OddsJam is, reading in millions of odds. And because No House Advantage is a platform where they're not changing your payout based on you selecting over or under, all you got to do is win 53.22% of your picks to be profitable. You want to find plays exactly like Kevin Gausman under 6.5 strikeouts, right? This bet in bold and in green. This is a play you want to go with on NHA. Why do we like it? Well, look at the sports books. Every sports book is telling you they have lines heavily juiced towards Gausman's under. So all these sports books are data points, and they're all telling you the same thing. Bet Online, Fliff, DraftKings, FanDuel. These are all data points. All these sports books, they've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in their ability to set lines. They have better models than you have. They're taking bets, moving around lines due to supply and demand. And what you're going to see is, wow, every single sports book, every single data point has Gausman's under heavily favored. So he's more likely to go under, right? He's over 53.22% to go under. And you're just using sportsbook odds, right, to figure that out. Because again, every sportsbook, as a sharp bettor, we treat them all as data points on where the line should be set. And here every book is telling us the same thing. Gausman's under should be heavily favored, right? So this is the play we want to go with. It's just the bet in bold and in green. So another tool that I've kind of started to use to find value on No House Advantage, as well as Prize Picks, Underdog Fantasy. It works for any of these platforms, any of these, fixed payout fantasy platforms. Like Prize Picks is the same way, right? It doesn't matter if you take overs, unders, any 2-pick entry, you're going to get a 3x payout, right? Prize Picks doesn't change payouts based on you selecting over under. So the same strategy applies for finding value on Prize Picks. You want to look for spots where Prize Picks is offering a line. In this case, No House Advantage, it's Gausman over under 6.5 strikeouts, and all the books are telling you, he's a lot more likely to go under as opposed to over. So that's a great player prop to go with on No House Advantage. So what the fantasy screen does is it just quantifies the probability that the over and the under hit, right? So you're going to see right here, Kevin Gausman is 54.26% to go under according to where sportsbooks are posting odds, right? So I've explained this before, but if a team is minus 200 odds, so let's say a team is minus 200 to win, I think the Warriors are roughly, minus 200 to beat the Lakers tonight. So let's go back here. So you can see the Warriors are a little more than minus 200, but what minus 200 means is a 2-to-1 favorite, right? 2-to-1 favorite, 66.67% to win. So currently the betting market, right, the point of indifference, just like the price of a stock is based on supply and demand, it's no different in sports betting. When equal action, a balanced amount of action is coming in on both sides, sportsbooks stop moving odds. So you're going to see lines have been ripping towards the Warriors. They've moved from about minus 200 to actually about, minus 290. So clearly an uneven amount of action has been coming in on the Warriors. Sports bettors are saying, no, the Warriors are more than 66.67% to win. So they have kept hammering the Warriors down to where they're about minus 250. So the sportsbooks are telling you, hey, the Warriors are bigger than 2-to-1 favorites. They're over 66.67% to win this game. So with the fantasy screen, it's just kind of doing the same thing. It's using sportsbook odds to point out value. So you can see here for Draymond, his under 7.5 assists is heavily favored on all the sports books. All the books have his under as the favored outcome. For Kevin Gausman, all the books have his under pretty heavily favored, not minus 200, right? Minus 200 would mean 2/3 to win, 66.67% to win. But on No House Advantage, all you have to do is win 53.227% of your picks. So when sportsbooks are juicing an under or an over to around minus 140, that's still a really good player prop to go with on No House Advantage. So you can see here, Gausman, Green, Turner, just following the data. So long story short, all these picks in green are winning over 53.22% of the time. So when you're using the fantasy screen right here, you just want to take these picks in green. So Draymond, under 7.5 assists. And again, there's no BS here. Everything is just based on where our sports books setting the lines. And here you can see for Draymond, all the books have his under heavily favored. So long story short, let's just go to my entry, 6 picks. So I have LeBron under 10 rebounds, the first play we went through on the screen. I have Curry under 6 assists, Austin Matthew under 5 shots on goal, Kevin Gausman under 6.5 strikeouts, Justin Turner over half of a single, which you can see right here. So most of these picks just from the fantasy screen. I try to make these videos educational, kind of explain why I'm betting, everything. So hopefully this video was helpful. Just showing you guys what I'm putting my own money on. 5 picks to turn 200 into 2,400 if every pick wins. If we go 4 for 5, we're still getting a 2x payout. 2.6x, I apologize. So hopefully this video was helpful, and let's make some money.